In Gaza, silence is never peace. The bombs may have stopped for a moment, but hunger, fear, and grief still echo through the ruins. And now, from Istanbul, the world hears a warning. Israel must stop violating the ceasefire. These are the words of Turkey's Foreign Minister, Hakan Fidan, standing before cameras, accusing the Israeli government and its military of betraying every promise made to Gaza's people. It's not just another press conference, it's a summit of nations. From Jordan to Qatar, from Indonesia to Egypt, 7 Muslim-majority countries have gathered in Istanbul to confront a question no one in the West seems brave enough to answer. If there's a ceasefire, why are Palestinians still dying? Fidan speaks carefully, but the message is unmistakable. He describes how, after a deal brokered by the United States, hostages were exchanged and aid was meant to flow. 600 trucks of food, medicine, and water, and 50 tankers of fuel every single day. But the reality, he says, is far darker. Israel's army, the IDF, continues to strike parts of Gaza, violating the very truce it agreed to. Humanitarian aid is blocked, trucks stopped at borders, children left to die of thirst just miles from full warehouses. He accuses Israel of turning the ceasefire into a war of starvation. And in that hall, the diplomats nod, not in politics, but in disbelief that the world allows this to continue. Then comes a quiet revelation. Fidan says Hamas, for the first time, has agreed to transfer Gaza's civil administration to a Palestinian-led committee. A sign, perhaps, that Palestinians themselves want unity, stability, and peace. But unity is fragile when every road, border, and checkpoint remains under foreign control. And still, Gaza's people try to rebuild. Mothers gather firewood from shattered walls. Doctors perform surgeries without power. Children draw peace signs on tent fabric, dreaming of classrooms that no longer exist. From Istanbul, the ministers call for something new, an international stabilization force to protect civilians in Gaza. Not an occupation, but a shield under the United Nations with global legitimacy. Turkey insists no foreign power should dictate Gaza's future. Palestinians must rule themselves with the world's support. But that idea faces walls in other capitals. In Washington and London, statements of deep concern fill the air, but no concrete steps follow. Meanwhile, in Spain, Ireland, and South Africa, leaders speak openly of accountability, calling the suffering in Gaza a moral failure of our century. The contrast is striking. Some nations move, others watch. Some send aid, others send excuses. And as Hakan Fidan says, we cannot let genocide restart in Gaza. His words pierce through the diplomacy, not as accusation, but as a cry of conscience. By the end of the meeting, one truth remains. If the world's conscience stays silent, Gaza's story will be written not in ink, but in blood and dust. Turkey and its allies promise to keep pushing for a real peace, not a paper ceasefire, but one where aid flows freely and children sleep without fear. Yet on the ground, every night tells a different story. Families without homes, hospitals without medicine, hope without breath. History will not forget what happened here. It will remember the rubble where schools once stood, the courage of doctors who refused to leave, the mothers who buried their sons in silence, and the leaders who dared to speak when others looked away. Because peace is not silence. Peace is justice. And until Gaza's children can live without fear of the sky, the world's work is not done.